Everybody, it's Peter. It's Friday night, which means it's Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Tonight is episode 8, The Last Day. Just want to start off by saying if you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit notifications. I do reviews of shows and movies on a regular basis. I'm doing Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. I'm doing Star Trek Discovery. If a movie comes out, I'll post it. I also do the occasional product reviews, things like computer stuff and things of that nature. So let's begin. This will be spoilerish as always. I'm going to recap most of it, not all of it. But yeah, this was another good episode to go watch, so definitely go see it. This episode does go back and forth quite a bit because there's lots of flashbacks. If you saw last week's episode, the teaser was that we're introduced to an older version of Robin, which was the little girl that we saw in Rewind. She's what they call a seer. She can see the future. She's a little bit like the three-eyed raven. He could see like everything all at once. So he's never living in the present. He's literally present, past, and future. She's in the same boat. When we see her as a little girl, she's thinking about, she's seeing all forms of time going back and forth through her noggin. That's her power. Now we see her as an older woman. And also through the flashbacks, we get to see her, as a younger girl, as almost a teenager or a young teen, and it goes back and forth. And because of her sort of living at literally all points of time, it's hard for her to tell people, oh, by the way, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. Everybody is desperately trying to work with her at certain points. I think in the end of it all, I think May was the only one that was sort of more patient with her and took care of her. And not to get ahead of myself, but the way the story is starting this time is we are flashbacking to 2018. The way the flashbacks are working, it's almost as if the gang did not get commandeered at the diner at the beginning of season 5. They're actually, if that event did not happen, we're moving forward because as the flashbacks are happening, they're actually making their way to the now space station that we have that, the last humanity is living off of. That's sort of the weird thing where you're saying, okay, we're on the space station now as of present time in the series, and it'll flash back to, oh, they're on the Zephyr back in 2018. Now it's 2020. Now it's 20 next, and one of the other times there's a flashback too, they're on the space station with, and one example is May dragging Robin along, and we got to get out of here, and Yo-Yo saying, hey, we lost Mack, and then there's like, what? We lost Mack? What? So it's like a totally different timeline when we're seeing the flashbacks that are different from, it's like the whole quantum thing that has come up in Star Trek, because how time flows and time can go in different directions. Or there is the quantum theory that was back from, I think it was Parallels Next Generation episode, where it talks about that any point in time you make a decision, everything will branch off. So anytime you say, I'm going to go do this, okay, there's a branch there. But if you have a simple decision of a left or a right or a 50-50, well, quantum mechanics says, well, you made that decision. Well, time's going to go that way. But you also made another decision. Time's going to go flowing off that way. And then when you hit another point or another fork on the road, even because it could be multiple forks, there could be a whole dining room set here. No, I'm just kidding with the cutlery jokes. It would be like you hit a point, and even if there's just 2 decisions to be made, that time is going to go on, and they make a decision. Well, that's going to split off because there's, well, what if I did this or what if I did that? Because I think about it myself sometimes. What if I made a different decision in my life? Where would my life end up now, as opposed to where I am right now? So this is all addressed here, but they're only really addressing like 2 points of time of, okay, here's the gang going now from, like I said, the beginning of when the diner, and they got put on, future Earth with the Kree running things. Flashbacks we're seeing as if they didn't get grabbed at the diner, but they kept going forward and somehow leading up to ending up on this space station or what's left over of Earth. So there's going to be a lot of jumping back and forth on this. We have about at least 2.5 plot lines going, because again, when we last week, Coulson and the gang jumped on a trawler ship, and they were going to fly up to the surface. He did something to the pilot. There was young Flint, the kid who can move stuff, with his mind, the rocks. But he said, no, I got to help. Got to help out the people here, so I'm going to stay behind. So Mack said, you know what, buddy, I got your back. Yo-Yo is going to stay with Mack, of course. So those guys are doing their own storyline, which leaves us with Coulson and everybody else. A little bit of May off to the side, because you saw that she got rescued, and now she's with the older version of Robin. So what ends up happening is Coulson and the gang did crash. Deke is now back with the gang too. And you find out that Deke's father actually made his way to the surface, and he worked with this other older fellow called Voss. Been living in the Zephyr all this time, and that's how they've been surviving. And I guess the bugs don't find them And I guess the Kree don't go looking for them either. Because the way the Kree imagine it, they throw people to the surface, the bugs get them, problem solved. But they didn't say how many years. That I'm assuming, a few decades, because the last time when we see one of the flashbacks with Robin's like maybe not even 15. And now we're seeing her and she looks like maybe 60 or more. So the gang crashes in the ship that Coulson tried to fly. And Robin and the people that are hanging out with her, they rescue those guys. So now we're getting again old school week again. May, Coulson, everybody's all together now. They're finding all this equipment they had. They found actually that we're some kind of a time machine that you find out later on that actually in one of the flashbacks Fitz and Simmons were trying to build. Somehow that is related to when they get zapped back with the Kree monolith. They actually find a chunk of this material still left, and that was used to power the time gizmo, the timey-wimey gizmo. No, it's not a TARDIS, but it's basically some kind of vortex thing. It's in a room, and it's powered by this Kree material. And supposedly that's how some of this happens, because that's how we leave off the episode as well too. We find this, we find that. So we're all leading to this point of, okay, what is the plan? How do we save the Earth? There are other things touched on too, like Voss. He talks with Daisy about, oh yeah, we heard the story about you're the destroyer of worlds, and they show this footage of Daisy, and it's just like, well, yeah, you see, you're there, you're leaving a Quinjet, and you're walking off this way, and she's walking off camera of the security footage. And so, well, that's the last time we saw you, and that's when the Earth got blown up, and it's all your fault. Fitz and Simmons are trying to figure out the new device that they found. Like, oh yeah, you guys in this other timeline that they were not aware of because they weren't part of that timeline, obviously. So there's where the confusion is. Like, oh yeah, no, you guys created that. When? Well, back then to here. So then how did we end up here to here? So there's the confusion, right? Like they're like, I don't remember building this thing. Well, yeah, you guys built this. When did we build this? Oh, back then. Really? Okay, well, we can figure it out then, I guess. Boss is supposedly a friend of Deke's dad, but later on we find out, too, that Voss is not somebody to be trusted. He seems okay in the beginning, and then as the episode rolls along, they figure their solution, all this timey-wimey stuff, is, you know what? We're just going to kill the S.h.i.e.L.D. guys, and maybe time will reset itself, or we won't have this problem. We're enslaved by the Kree. We do this thing, it's butterfly effect, and it's all gone. It's like, no, it's not going to work that way. That's not how it's going. This episode is flat. Within every act, it's like, oh, we go flash, then we come back. Then we flash, then we come back. As confusing as Robin is trying to relay the time events to the people, this is about as confusing as the watching the episode itself, because, oh, we're here. Okay, that makes sense. We're going to go back here. Okay, guys, this is what's happening. Oh, and then we jump to this point. Okay. The other sort of minor plot in this one, too, is we're only seeing a little bit of the Kree. You've got Cassius tells Sonara, okay, you have to go find the Destroyer of Worlds, and if you can't, bring her back to us so we can sell her off to the highest bidder again, you have my orders to kill her. We don't see them again for the rest of the episode until the teaser at the end of the show. Meanwhile, back on the station part, we've got Yo-Yo, Mack, and Flint finally do find the cache of goodies. They thought, oh, it's going to be hard because all the roaches are there, the big bug creatures. And it's not, and they actually find what's happening is for some reason the Kree, they've corralled all of the bugs to go down to the inhabited levels because Cassius, he gives the order, calls it a retribution because, again, he doesn't like what the humans did about, helping the S.h.i.e.L.D. gang. So what their retribution is basically herd all the bugs down onto the inhabited levels and let the bugs have a free-for-all with all the humans. So this makes it actually easier for Yo-Yo, Mack, and Flint to go find the cache of weapons that Fitz left behind. Oh, they get everything. Mack gets his axe shotgun. There's all sorts of bombs and grenades and smoke things and all sorts of all sorts of goodies there. So Mack comes up with a plan. We got to take care of this bug problem because we got to save everybody else. Because in the box of goodies that Fitz left behind, there were things like a mini power generator and things like that. So they were able to turn on the air circulation. Well, what happens if we turn on the air circulation? Well, we've got these smoke grenades. And I don't know if the bugs don't like that. So they're actually down on that to sort of trick the bugs to go into there. And then Yo-Yo makes her way down, and she's got all these little Kree bombs that, of course, she does her yo-yo trick, or she's, time stops because she moves so fast. And she goes like bomb, 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 bomb. And that takes care of all the bugs. So now we can rally the humans together, and we've got to take on the Kree. That ends that part of their story arc. Voss, who's one of the guys who's been protecting Robin with Deke's father and all these other people. What's happening is, well, they basically start ganging up on Coulson and the gang, which is the wrong thing to do, because even though Daisy doesn't have her power, well, that was another thing too. Fitzsimmons tries to figure out how to get rid of the inhibitor on Daisy, but hers is actually planted in such a place that if they try to rip it out, I don't know if she'll have like permanent brain damage or be a vegetable. But Daisy's still a S.h.i.e.L.D. agent, so she can still kick butt as well as May can. The Voss and the gang are trying to do their thing and like saying bang, 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 don't mess with S.h.i.e.L.D. guys. Coulson and May subdue Voss. Unfortunately, Voss, somewhere along the line, he stabs Robin, figuring that'll solve problems too. May ends up showing up, and we find out that actually in the alternate timeline but they never explained what happened to Robin's biological mother. Somewhere she got killed. That May took it upon herself to continue with taking care of Robin as best she could. And in one of the scenes where Robin can't sleep because always, death and destruction is always going through her head. Takes her a while. So May says, okay, well, I'll take care of you. I'll watch over you, and you'll fall asleep in my arms. And then, of course, we cut back to the present time of the story. There's a similar scene where now Robin is injured. She's bleeding out, unfortunately, and nothing much they can do. But that's when Robin tells May, and we don't know what the story is, but she whispers before she dies, here's the plan you told me. And in both instances, May's saying to Robin, okay, now you'll have to wait to tell us the story of how we saved the world until we meet again. But you remind me to remind you to tell us. And now we're finally, caught up on that story. And then the punchline of that part of the thing is Robin does die. May gets up and she looks at everybody else because now they got the situation under control. Voss and his gang have been subdued. May looks at everybody and says, okay, Robin told me with the plan. We have to go back. But by the way, who's Flint? Because she never met the guy. And we leave it there. Oh yeah, and Mack and his nicknames. He started calling Flint Pebbles. And then last week he was calling Fitz Turbo, which I think is when Fitz had the brain damage in second or third season. Yeah, second season after they got rescued from the water damage. He gave everybody, that's how Yo-Yo got it. And he keeps giving everybody, he's the superhero nickname guy. But it's always like, and he doesn't, but to me it's annoying. Actually kind of an annoying character. I hate to say that. He's always like, to be the biggest, baddest, buff-looking guy of the group, he's got to be the whiniest member of the team. And Yo-Yo sometimes a close second. Anyway, as always, I put it to you guys. What did you like? Did you watch the episode? Are you still following along with Coulson and the gang? What are your thoughts? Don't forget to leave your thoughts down below. As always, did you like my video? Did you not like my video? Again, if you're new or you're still undecided, don't forget hit subscribe, ring the notification so you know when I'm posting videos, and probably be posting again Sunday because we've got more of Star Trek Discovery in the Mirror Universe. We're going to see what's happening next. Stay tuned for that one and the review on that one. And as always, see you in the next one.